All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trump Revolution USA, where William R. Collier Jr., the founder of Trump Revolution USA, will be talking to the founder of Deplorables TV, Tom Antion. Welcome, gentlemen. Carry forward with the interview.
Hello, everybody. This is Bill Collier with Trump Revolution USA. Good afternoon. We are recording this so that if you don't see it live, you'll also be able to see it on our Facebook page as well as our website, TrumpRevolutionUSA.com. I am interviewing today with Tom Antion, who is the founder and the creator of Deplorable TV. I liked his program so much. After talking with him, I thought it would be great to introduce him to you. I also am a backer of the project. I have contributed to help get this off the ground, and I will encourage you to do the same as we go through this interview. So good afternoon, Tom. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Bill. Thanks so much for having me on today.
So you decided to do Deplorables TV. I want to hear really, I'm going to ask you a few questions about it, but we're going to start with, what is it about? What is the theme?
Well, the way I got the idea for this was in that I have hated politics my whole life. I just recently woke up in the past 2 years to what's going on in the world. And I've always been conservative, came from a small town, very small, like 500 people in Western Pennsylvania, where you shook hands and it meant something and people did what's right and they saluted the flag and all this stuff. So when I started waking up to what was going on in the political arena, basically when Trump started, and I mean, I was hoping Ross Perot, a businessman, would have a chance in 1992. But when I saw Trump coming around, I said, I got to get involved in this and see what's going on. So I'm glued to the TV all day long. I work out of my home all evening, and I'm seeing good, hardworking people getting attacked like crazy. And we're being portrayed as toothless, uneducated, gun-toting buffoons. And this is making me mad because I always grew up to take care of the underdog and to stand up when everybody else is too weak to stand up. So I thought, this is not right. These people are hardworking, they're good, they're patriotic, they're tough. I mean, they're so tough they don't have to put bags over their head and break windows all day long, like some on the other side. So I said, the only way, I got to do what I'm good at. And I produce videos, and I've got a show in Hollywood called Scam Brigade, where I'm, again, sticking up for the underdog. But the Hollywood people were telling me, okay, Tom, we're going to sell it now. And I said, okay, great. They said, yeah, it'll probably take 2-3 years. I'm like, what? I'll be tripping over my beard in 2 or 3 years. So I thought, I'm taking this directly to the web where I have control, where I can highlight good, hardworking people, patriotic people all around the country and take it right to the web. That's what how the show came about. So
give me a kind of an example, like a kind of example show, like what would a show be like?
A show would be like me traveling to Ohio, probably not flying, probably driving and stopping along the way to pick up stories along the way, which, this is, there used to be a show a long time ago where, I forget the guy's name, would drive across the country and just pick up all kinds of things you would never see if you just flew across. And so I'll be picking up stories along the way, serendipitously, and then I'll have a destination in mind. It'll be people in Ohio that are doing great things, have a small business, are struggling because some industry got closed down because of some pitiful policy from the last administration, and showing what they're doing to get by and how they're not turning to robbing and looting when they're having a tough time. They're tough, hardworking people. They're going to go find and make work. So I'm going to highlight all those kinds of stories as we go across the USA.
Now, an interesting thing about you as a fellow deplorable is you have a real connection to the immigration issue and specifically to Syria. I'd really like to hear you talk a little bit about that.
Well, certain, again, other things irk me about the arguments we hear coming from the left. And one of them is we are a nation of immigrants. And they just sing that tune till they turn blue. And I have to give that to them, Bill, on the surface. Yes, we were built as a nation of immigrants. My dad came into Ellis Island in roughly 07. His name's up on the wall up there. But when he came in, they are waving flags and they can't wait to be Americans and they can't wait.
Hold
to
on, you said 1907. Your dad came over. You don't look a day past 80. I just want to let you know that.
Thanks. Yeah,
so he was rather old when he had you.
When your
mother had
I was
you.
the baby of 6 boys.
Oh, okay.
And my dad was married to my mom 57 years.
Wow.
But, well, that's nothing. He was married to another lady 20 years before that. So he was married 77 years. But anyway, I'm the baby of 6 boys. And that's another story about how he raised me. But anyway, they're waving flags and the grandparents and the parents refuse to let them speak their native language. They say, you speak English because that's how you become an American. You don't speak Syrian or Polish or Italian, whatever. You when you're home, you can. Great. You know your mother tongue. But no, you got to become American. And that was all the way up until, 15 years ago. That was the kind of person that was an immigrant. However, the Deplorables is called the voice of common sense in America, Bill. And if you just look around in the past 10 years or so, that's not the same kind of person that's coming waving the American flag. They're more likely to set fire to it than to wave it, okay? Or if it's on fire, they'll wave it to burn it faster, all right? So that ain't the person that we're talking about. And it's totally reasonable. See, like I said, I always go back to common sense. It's reasonable to vet people that come with no documentation. Now, we're not talking little babies and we're not talking starving women. We're talking a lot of these people are 20-somethings that could get a job anywhere in the world because they're good and strong, but they want to come here. And I hate to say it, but freeload basically off of us, get in little clicks and create damage and create lower real estate prices and create people afraid. I was just hearing half the women in Germany are afraid to go out at night. And Germany used to be the safest place on earth you could walk around, but now they're afraid. Same in Sweden. So I don't want that to happen to our country. It's like I said, it's not the same person that's coming in, so you can't handle it like you did when my dad came in.
So you came from even your last name is interesting. You don't have your family's last name. You have a different last name now.
Well,
it came from
it was an
accidental name.
Yeah, see, because when my dad came from Syria, they named you from where you were born, the village you were born. And so he was Saman from Antioch, Syria. And when he got to Ellis Island, they're trying to read this thing. I said, okay, you're Sam Antion. So that was his name. He had no middle name, Sam Antion. And that's how the Antion name came about.
But why that's interesting is, again, we're going back to, I'm not necessarily saying people that come to America should change their name, but the idea was that you were coming to America to become an American.
Exactly.
You weren't coming to America to be a Syrian or an Arab or a Jew or whatever you were. You were coming to America to become an American. It was almost like a conversion of nationality.
And
whereas
still,
now you have people that come over and they're not converting their nationality. They're not. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not proud of your Syrian heritage or that you're not aware of it. But it does mean that you count yourself as an American.
Exactly. And the whole time I was growing up, we had the Syrian food and Greek Orthodox. I was baptized and a whole clan around the area of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But none of us said, "Oh yeah, we're Syrians. We're Americans." That it came from Syria. And that just happened to be the way it was. But we were proud to be Americans, where it's totally different now.
Right. And so you weren't into politics. I know you're a businessman and you sell mostly online, right?
Yep, for the past 24 years. Yep.
And so you decided to get into kind of politics got into you, I guess, in the sense that you saw what was happening with Trump, and you're actually kind of like a typical deplorable. That what most people don't understand is that deplorables aren't really political people, in the sense that they don't want to be only concerned about politics. I mean, if the government would pretty much do what it's supposed to do under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, which is not very much, we wouldn't really care that much. We'd be like, oh, Republicans or Democrats, who's in office? I don't care. None of them are bothering me. But people say, well, I don't care about politics. And I often say, well, but politics cares about you. And that's the problem. If you really look at your life and the regulation in your life. Now, in your industry, I don't think you have to deal with too much regulation.
Not
a little
too
bit
much.
on the advertising side, I understand. But a lot of our lives are dramatically impacted by government. So clearly, all the way up until the time Trump came, your life was being impacted by government, whether you thought about it or not, it was. But what made the difference with you and Trump, as opposed to you not caring? I mean, I think you cared. You probably voted and did all that. But as far as not getting really active in politics before, was it because things were so bad you wanted to change, or was it because you finally had hope in a guy like Trump?
Yeah, it was pretty much that I see a part of myself in being a businessman and caring about money, whether it's mine or not. The people I teach them to keep their costs low. Where government people, it's not their money. So if they spend $1 billion here, $1 billion there, somebody said one time, oh, pretty soon it adds up to a lot of money, but it's not their money. So I saw a businessman that's successful. I wanted them to have a chance. Also, on the political correctness angle, I've never been politically correct. I've had to be, and I've done speaking engagements all around the world to a certain extent, but not to the craziness that it is now. I mean, you can't say anything. You can't walk down the street and breathe and not offend somebody. So I like that part about it. I like tough talk and tough action, where I didn't see any of that. In fact, I looked at Obama like, man, that guy's a sissy. What are you doing here? I can't believe the red line is there. And so you just say, heck with it. Nah, no problem. And also you can't say Islamic terrorism, and you give $1 billion and some dollars in cash to the biggest. I mean, this is unbelievable, the kind of things that were being done. So I thought, you know what? It's America first. I believe Trump wants that. He's already rich. He's already 70 years old. I do believe he cares about America more than most of these politicians, because all they do all day long, if you just sit and listen to the news like I do, all they talk about, or all the pundits talk about, is, well, if they do this, they won't get reelected. Well, that's all they think about, is getting reelected, not taking care of you and I. So I hate that. And I think Trump is more, he's already rich. Sure, he likes money, and I'm sure he likes to make money, but he gave his salary. He said, heck, no, I don't want that $400,000. Give it to the Park Service or somebody. So all of that kind of stuff attracted me to him.
So we're going to circle back to the show and get kind of into the meat and the potatoes of what the show is going to be like. So you described the fact that you're going to travel, you're going to look at stories. How many shows are going to be produced a week, or is that going to be determined by your funding?
Well, it'll be partly in funding, but I'm really good at doing stuff on a shoestring budget. I produced a half-hour show for TV, not cable, not network, for about, I think it was $3,000. And
that's pretty incredibly cheap.
And the estimates I had from just going to production companies were from $50,000 to $65,000. So I don't know what they were going to spend that money on, but I didn't. Now we already had the equipment. We have some cameras, and it's easy to edit now with Macs nowadays. So we got all the equipment, but we're going to have security. Part of the money is we got to have security. We got to have people to research and vet the people that are going to be on the show to make sure they're not sneaking in as leftists as pretending to be deplorables. I tell people though, if they're not deplorable now, they can work on it. And maybe we'll let them in later if they can become deplorable after a while. But they have to prove themselves. So then there's a lot of expenses that go along with the video production, video editing. I've got volunteers now to get it started that are real patriots. But eventually, as it grows bigger, I've got to pay people, security especially, because I can see it's going to be a magnet for people trying to cause trouble. So we got to have security people and all that.
So basically, I mean, you got to travel, you got security, you got to research. You have the equipment, so that's not a big part of it. So if once this is up and running, I'm expecting I go to a website once a day. Are you going to have like push notifications on your phone?
Yeah,
and all that
people
kind of
will
stuff?
sign up on the YouTube channel, and they'll get notifications every time we put up a new show. And we'll have an email list also, which will broadcast when the new shows are out. And I'm in lots of pro-Trump groups that will alert to that, especially yours. So yeah, there'll be plenty of notification about it. And one thing that I think, again, being a business guy and not really from the political world, they always highlight on the news she spent 82 million on TV ads and he spent 46 million on TV ads. And I'm sitting here thinking, what a lousy return on investment. I mean, because they're on for 30 seconds and maybe somebody will put it on YouTube or something, but nobody will just come back to watch TV ads over and over. But
you know what strikes me about that is when I hear it, kind of along your lines, but I think it's slightly differently. I say, no, why doesn't somebody say he reached 33 million, she reached 45 million, whatever? Because that's actually what matters. If he spent 20 million, but he reached 50 million, and she spent 40 million, and she reached 20 million, guess what? The one with the reach is all it's about. You know, I met a guy that ran a giant restaurant chain, which I'm not at liberty to say. And we were doing a marketing campaign, and he said, it's all about butts and seats. And in marketing and outreach, it's all about that. But in politics, you don't really hear this kind of direct, and I'm going somewhere with this, but you don't hear this kind of direct cause and effect between input of resources and output of results. And in our world, you and I both in the commercial world, we only think in terms of the results. We're always like, how many views did we get? What kind of conversion did we get? Sales, supporters, whatever the numbers are. And that's all we think of. Most of my business is commercial. So, but the politics side, it's measured in how much money you spent.
Yeah, and
then you look at the money and you're like, they paid a consultant $500,000. So why this is important to what you're doing and why I want people listening to understand is that Tom is not a political consultant who's going to pay himself $1 million a year to sit around, move a couple papers across the desk. Meanwhile, all the people doing the work are getting paid nothing and struggling. And you know, he says, oh, great, we spent $1.5 million a year, $1 million on himself and $500,000 on 50 starving people. That's not what you're going to do. That's not what this is about. So this is something that if you want to get behind it as a sponsor, or if you want to, I'm going to ask about your monetization model, but in the future, when it's monetized, if you want to do whatever that is that you're going to have them do, this is not a typical dark hole where money gets thrown down and no results. You're really going to be focused on reaching people and giving people who are deplorables, who are support Trump and to support this agenda and what he represents in the political space. You're going to be giving them a place where they can be edified. They can be built up. Of course, we have to go out and engage the left. and we got to go where they are, and that's all part of it. But we also need to encourage ourselves. We need to see, wow, there's other people like me out there. The value of that is indescribable. And most people fail to understand that whatever you do, whether you're a Christian or you're a deplorable or whatever your group is that you're trying to advance, if you don't have a place that supports and edifies and encourages you, it's going to be very hard to stay in the fight.
Yeah, and the return on investment for this kind of stuff is way, way bigger because these investing in a show like this, the video is going to be there for years, bringing in millions of views, where, like I said, the TV buys are just very short deals. And you're right, people had to pretty much hide what they were thinking until Election Day because they were getting attacked every which way but loose, and their signs are getting stolen out of their yards. I just talked to a guy that was a regional guy on the campaign, and he said, yeah, they let the air out of my tires. They're vandalizing my house. I mean, so I think, building up this and letting them know that there's a powerful force that doesn't go out like these Antifa people and little sissies and make a lot of noise in big groups like gangs. You get the wrong deplorable after you, you're in trouble, So yeah, I want to stick up for them and give them a place to really show that they are great, great people, far greater than the ones that are complaining.
So this basically works at two levels. Looking at, we're encouraging people that are in our ranks. Here's your stories. Here's other people just like you. You are not alone. And here's stories that might help you. Like, here's what somebody else did. Oh, I like that idea. I'm going to use that to reach my neighbors. But the other side is it provides social proof, which we can make visible, that to the media, to the left, to our neighbors who are kind of undecided, who might be in the middle, that, you know what, forget what the media says. They portray us as some fringe. In reality, we are the majority in this country. Look around. All these stories will show you this is visible proof that what the media says is a bunch of bunk. Open your eyes, take the red pill, as they say, and realize that we're in this matrix of left-wing media thought control. And with shows like this, now we can show people, here's 20 different stories from all over the country. Look at this. And you tell me that this is what is being described, because it isn't what's being described. So stop listening to NBC and ABC and CBS and open your eyes to see the reality that is actually going on, that you're being, kind of concealed from you. So it works on two levels: to encourage our people and also to reach out across to our friends and neighbors. And so it's a tool. Now, let
me throw in a third level there. It's propping up the administration, because everybody says, oh, the people supported Trump, or all these bunch of dummies and so forth. So when it's shown in their face, well, here's a person that created this massive company with thousands of employees. And here's a person, well, look at the guy from PayPal, the big Trump supporter, a worldwide phenomenon. All right. So there's celebrities that and most celebrities know, but some of them stood up, John Voight and Scott Baio and all those people. So there's great people all around this country, and there's just as great. I mean, I got some of the best advice in my life from coal miners when I went to school at West Virginia University. The one thing I'll never forget, this old coal miner told me, Tom, the schoolhouse door is always open. You be a continuous learner. He's a coal miner, and he's telling me to be a continuous learner. See, so there's great people everywhere. But one thing that irks me is this argument on the popular vote. You know how Hillary won because she won the popular vote. So, Bill, I like to use a sports analogy to talk about that. Let's say you and I are playing a football game, okay? And I decide in the middle of the game to go over to the next field that's a baseball field with no opposition. I throw the ball up and I hit a grand slam home run. Then I come back over to the football field and I say, Bill, I won. I hit a grand slam. And you say, No, we were playing football, weren't we? I don't care. I hit a grand slam. I won. And that's the argument that they're trying to play here, right? And just the Washington Post just came out and said Trump would have won both the popular and the electoral if the election was held today. And the Washington Post is no friend to Trump for sure.
No.
So that argument is just bunk. And if you count in all the dead people that voted and the illegal aliens, is probably much closer. But anyway, I just can't wait to get out there and start propping up these people and making this happen.
Okay, so 2 questions. They're going to go real quick here. First is, what can people do now? And then the second one is going to be, after the show is up and running, how are you going to continue to get support? Okay. What is your model?
Well, to get started, we have started a crowdfunding campaign, which means that people can throw in $5 if they want. And if we get thousands and thousands of people, I mean, I don't need a lot of money. We've slotted about $50,000 to do the first season of 6 episodes, where the show that we're doing in Hollywood's $1 million an episode. All right.
Wow.
So I could do 6 episodes for $50,000, and hopefully, just like Trump, under budget and under time. Schedule, on time. So that's one thing, is they could just go in and kick in anything. Now we have different levels, and we don't just ask for donations. We always give you something back in a crowdfunding campaign. The other thing is I'm a very experienced media guest. But I'm not known in the political circle. So anybody that's got connections that can hook me up with big interviews on a national scope, that would be great too. And I'll never let you down. I've done over 1,000 interviews, so I can really hit the ball out of the park. So those are the 2 things in the short run, is contribute to the crowdfunding to help us kick off. And most of the money is going to be paying these other people that are helping, not me.
Now, how do they find that? What platform are they on?
They can just go to thedeplorables.tv, which is the main website, thedeplorables.tv.
Which is what I did.
Yeah, exactly. And they can see a video there, and they can click over to the crowdfunding site. We're using a very reputable platform, Indiegogo. And like I said, anything you kick in is well appreciated, and it will not be squandered. I mean, my dad made me grow up frugal. In fact, we had wells where I live, Bill, and I can't brush my teeth to this day and let the water run. Because I hear my dad saying, "Don't waste water. You don't waste things around." Because he came with nothing from Syria.
Well, and so everybody knows, I don't normally contribute to these things because I'm always concerned about things like that, waste and whatnot. Tom and I have a mutual friend who has known Tom for years, and I can tell you and vouch for the fact that Tom is extremely frugal and honest with his money, and has always been that way. And this is from someone who's known him for 10 or 15 years or something. Mm-hmm. Long time. The second thing is, and I'm not telling this to brag or put myself up, but this is how much I appreciate it. I'm definitely not a wealthy man. I'm a small business owner. I contributed, I think, $125 or something, which is way beyond what I would normally do. But that's how much I really think this is a good thing. I think we need this. And I encourage everybody to get involved and to help out. Go to the site. Say the site name again. The Deplorables.
Thedeplorables.tv.
Thedeplorables.tv. Don't forget the .tv, not any other thing other than .tv. Go there and see what you can do. Even if it's $5, that's cool. But if you want to wage media war against the other side, here's your opportunity to actually, put a round in the chamber, as it were, and help us fight this battle. Now, the second question is, after the show is going, how are people going? What is your model? Are you going to have sponsors, subscribers?
Well, yeah. So after the show is going and has a track record of views, it's much easier to attract people that want to be sponsors. And I'll be very careful of who I allow there, because I'm a person that doesn't take money just to take money. I take money if it's from the right people. I'm not going to anybody that wants to donate a significant amount will be vetted there thoroughly of what their agenda is, because I do not, like I said, I don't need it that bad. I could stay here and never have to do this. So I'm doing this because I want to do it, and it's good for the country. So I'm not going to let anybody sneak in. But anyway, once you've proven the concept, it's much easier to get conservative groups that will then back you than when you're an unknown in the industry. So the crowdfunding is to help us get started, and we'll continue that going too, because it's a good way that people can feel like they can contribute when a lot of times you feel like, well, what can I do? Well, this is an avenue for you to do it.
Now, will you have a Patreon account?
I don't know if I'll have a Patreon account or not. It depends on at the time what's the best thing and what the best deal I can get
right.
Percentage wise. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just it's exciting. It's an exciting time out there with all the tools we have to do this inexpensively. It used to cost tens of thousands of dollars to do a show. Now we can do it way cheaper. Like I said, a lot of the money is going to go because I'm going to be like a magnet to the left trying to cause trouble. So now security.
Now the deplorables.tv, remember the deplorables.tv. Does the deplorables.tv have a way to contact you if they have an idea for a story or
Absolutely.
anything like that? So
right on the site, they can fill out a form and even recommend somebody they think we should cover, or recommend themselves. So they can, it's on the form there when you say how to participate. I think there's a link at the top.
Very good. Okay, so folks, do you want to see some really cool stories about people that support what Donald Trump represents and that support this administration? And do you want to have a tool that you can use to push back against the media spin and the media lies, and to show other people, hey, you're wrong, this is the truth? If you do, if this is something that you care about, this is a great opportunity to get behind an effort. And again, $5, whatever, to support an effort like this. We by the way, we're not paid to do this interview. We don't get any compensation whatsoever. I'm telling you this because I support this, and I want you to do the same if you can. And even if you just spread the word or share this video so that your friends and family and other people can see what this is all about. So again, this is Bill Collier with the Trump Revolution USA. I'm going to ask Tom to give us some closing remarks, and then we'll conclude today.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for having me. Thank your brother for running the tech here, and he's behind the scenes and did such a great job for us. And one little kicker I want to throw in, we're going to have a contest. It's not written anywhere, of all the backers from the crowdfunding campaign, and you will either get featured on the show or you can gift that to someone else, because some people want to remain anonymous, and I understand that. So you can actually contribute anonymously also if you'd like. So, but anyway, we'll be featuring some backer from the show or on the show.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you for coming on today with us, Tom. Thank you to everybody who watched today. Again, this is Bill Collier with TrumpRevolutionUSA.com. This has been a special broadcast.